So whether you want to do it in front of the mirror, I'm not going to say if I do or not. I'm just saying that some people do. And I guess they're more effective in front of the mirror. You can do them in the car. Don't do them with your eyes closed in the car, though. It can be dangerous. I was doing that like at the stoplight. And I have clients come in. They're so cute. They're like, I'm not going to tell you what my affirmation is. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you either. So the idea is that, because there's just no way to make them cool. But the idea is that if you get in the habit, when I was watching this DVD, I watched it recently kind of as a review for today's talk. And I noticed that some of the people said, gosh, I'm doing these hundreds of times a day. And I'm like, did I hear that wrong? I missed it in the movie the last time. I'm like, ooh, I'm just doing them a couple times a day. So the idea is to do them on a regular basis. And what they do is they speak to your subconscious. Okay, so what you do in the beginning is, say you have an affirmation you're working on. So I have clients who have not dated in a very long time, and they feel like, oh, nobody would like to date me because, I'm fat or whatever it is. They'll come into intuitive eating, and we're in the skills acquisition stage. They're just reading about it, they're learning about it. We're doing a little bit of the skill strengthening in session. And she'll come in with this old belief, that was in high school, when now she looks back at those pictures, which is the story that I hear all the time. She thought she was fat, and now she looks fat, and I guess she wasn't, whatever. She has decided, she made a decision 20 years ago that nobody would want to date her because she's fat. Okay, so we started to rework that thought. Is it based in reality? Where did you even come up with this? But now it's just habit, right? So basically what that pattern of thought does is create, people, it's not anything sort of like airy-fairy. We get vibes about people all the time. You can tell when somebody has negative thoughts when just in passing. I mean, I like when sometimes I'm wrong about that, but you can tell. So is it her physique? Or is it all the negative thoughts that are going on in her head that really kind of says to people like, hey, don't talk to me, and then they're blaming it on fat, okay? So what we did was we started to rework, what I call like remodel this belief system, because it was really outdated. And she started doing affirmations like, anyone would be lucky to date me, and she'd really get into it. And at first she would be like, anybody would be lucky to date me. Anybody would be lucky to date me. And it's just really kind of fake, and on the surface, anybody would be lucky to date me. And then after a while, if she can kind of get herself to take it down a bit further, okay, what does it look like, smell like, taste like, feel like what would it feel like to really feel that someone would be lucky to date you? And then kind of hanging out in the idea of it. What happened was she started working diligently on this, and guys just started coming out of the woodwork. Okay, so she had never even dated before. She's like, Signe, I can't even believe it. I was getting, the calls in between and the emails, but she's like, what's going on? And so I don't know, Wayne Dyer says you suddenly appear to have all these collaborations with fate and all these little synchronicities when you change the way that you think. He's the one that said, how there's the old saying, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. His is more like, you'll see it when you believe it, which I love. Okay, so he's like, if you start to change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. I love that. So anyway, she starts to do this work. She comes in to lose weight. There is no weight loss that has occurred. She's in the very first stages. She has not started to generalize the skill set yet. She's just changed the way that she thinks, which I suspect kind of opened her up, made her more receptive. Okay, so it was really pretty interesting. And I know Allison Armstrong is a relationship guru. And she has these great CDs. She's been studying males and females and what makes one attractive to the other for the last 20 years, okay? And she says that every time, and keep in mind she's interviewed thousands of men and women, the two traits that are considered the single most attractive traits in another person, in the opposite sex or the same sex, are confidence and authenticity. So, I mean, I have people who maybe the weight loss hasn't occurred, and they are, or I have people who maybe are more near their natural shape but feel really horrible about their shape, okay? And there's just, in my opinion, nothing more unattractive than a negative body image, do you know what I mean, or negative thoughts. So when somebody starts to feel good about them, and you can feel it, it exudes. They think that attraction is physical, and I've read reports, and I don't know if you have, but I remember reading this book where it talked about 90% of attraction isn't even physical at all. There's pheromones going on, confidence. I mean, we've all seen people that we would consider conventionally attractive, but you can tell that there's no confidence. And you look at the person, you're like, I can tell he's a handsome man, but maybe he's kind of carrying himself like this. And then we've seen people, I mean, I've been attracted to a guy that looks like the guy on Bonanza with the big hat. And you know, and maybe not the body image that our culture is saying attractive. And he's just very confident, but in just the right sort of way. And I couldn't even talk around him, you know? So it sort of picks you, you don't pick it. This idea that it has to do with your physique is hilarious, really, not even true. It has more to do with the way that you think, in my opinion. So the affirmations, they start off really fake, but if they can be diligent enough and continue to think the new belief until they actually believe it, that's when the shift.
A lot of good, positive energy back from the other people.
Yeah, and it's really, like I said, it's really not that airy-fairy. So if you're thinking more positively, it is going to have quite a bit to do with the actions you take and the reality you experience. And people, you know, they'll maybe not buy in sometimes, and that's fine if they don't. But maybe, you know, if I have friends who are like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, you don't know about what? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, thinking a positive thought? So what if it doesn't work? In the meantime, you feel better. Who cares? Oh my gosh, I hope, oh gosh, don't try it. Yeah, you wouldn't want to try that.